Welcome back to the Dynamite Sports Podcast. I'm Noah. Across the table from me is Trey, the high school athlete. Next to him is Tyler. Tyler, the RBLR correspondent. Next to me is Dad, the high school principal and bladder cancer warrior. And I am Noah Vassallo, the current executive producer of the Dynamite Sports Podcast.
Guys, it's only JV.
Nice cross country.
Woo! Get him. Hey, that's one of the toughest sports I've ever seen. Hey, so we are. This is our first episode since the Super Bowl. Well, the Super Bowl was last Sunday. So, guys, what are your impressions of the Super Bowl? Eagles running away from the Chiefs, Kendrick Lamar, all the aspects of Super Bowl. What are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Trey. You got it.
Okay. My aunt brought taquitos. Taquitos? How do you pronounce it?
Taquitos?
Taquitos. Okay. They were actually amazing. I didn't expect a Super Bowl snack to be that good.
Oh, yeah. Super Bowl snacks, that's our thing.
Anyways.
Taquitos, they were fantastic. I don't think I've had a better one. I'm just kidding. Dad Guac killed, as always. Fantastic, Dad Guac.
It's a 20-year starter right there.
Oh,
that's cagey.
True vet right there. I'll say about halfway through that game, not even halfway through the first half, I already knew the end score. I mean, that game was over before it started. The Chiefs looked beat down to start, and there wasn't a lot that they had to show in this game where it's the biggest one of some of these rookie guys' careers. So
I'm pretty sure someone fact-checked me on this, but Patrick Mahomes had a total QBR in the first half of 10.
I thought it was less than that.
He averaged like 1 yard per throw by the end of the first half.
It was bad. Kendrick Lamar traveled more yards in his halftime show than the Chiefs did for the whole game. The whole game. Whole thing. Not a great look for Andy Reid there. Or Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce. The only person on that team that looks good is Xavier Worthy. I think he had probably one of the greatest receiving lines ever in the Super Bowl. 8 catches, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. There's like one guy who's had more yards than that ever in a Super Bowl.
And that's Jerry Rice.
I'm sure it is.
So, and I mean, my impression is an impression that I've had of Super Bowls in the past. He who can get the quarterback off his spot will win the game. The Eagles have invested in defensive linemen, particularly defensive linemen from the University of Georgia.
Whatever's down there in the water. Woo-wee.
And they got Pat off his spot. It looked a lot like the Super Bowl the Bucs played against the Chiefs, honestly. And and you can go back to the undefeated Brady season when the Giants, with Michael Strahan and a cast of characters, gave him fits. So that is the key, getting after the passer, and hopefully some of our maybe our local team can take a cue from that.
I sure hope so. The other thing to think about is like that defense is good at all 3 levels. They've got the stellar defensive line: Josh Sweat, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Nolan Smith on the other side. That's a great 4-man rush, regardless of what you have behind you. But then they had Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond. Zach Bond was an all-pro this year, and Nakobe Dean was probably going to be the other all-pro if he stayed healthy. And then they have 6 good defensive backs, 6 of them, including Darius Slay, who had a bad year.
Oh yeah,
that's actually crazy to say.
He just retired.
And exactly, and they have crazy rookies with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean getting his first interception on his birthday in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Andy takes it all the way to the house.
First player to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl on his birthday.
And who would have had that prop bet over Saquon Barkley doing it?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Somebody who needs to call the line. Somebody needs to call a hotline if they had that bet.
Yeah.
I think you could argue this is a top 10 team of all time. This Eagles team.
I don't know if I'd go that far. The defense was very
18
dominant.
18 wins on the season.
On
65
Sunday.
points in the NFC Championship.
And 40 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Saquon Barkley ran for 2,000. They were 16-0 when they had A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. 16-0.
I mean, when you look at your starting 22 and you can say that like wide receiver 3 is your weakest position.
Yeah.
Trey, I was poo-pooing you out of the gates, but you made a strong comeback there. Okay, I'm gonna mull that over.
I think they have somebody in the top 10 at every position, don't they? AJ Brown is probably a top 10 wide receiver. Saquon Barkley's probably a top 2 running back. Jalen Hurts, I'd say, probably a top 10 quarterback. Their entire offensive line, every single position.
Jalen Hurts haters are crying.
Yeah, I look bad after that one.
If you're this Eagles team, and you're going up against anybody else in this NFL history of a Super Bowl team, how are they going to stop the Niners? That's my question. How would they stop that Niners team with Jerry Rice?
We were asking
Ronnie
the same
Lott?
thing about how Patrick Mahomes would ever be stopped in a Super Bowl, and we've seen it twice now. He's been blown out in a Super Bowl 2 times.
And I
how
think,
many all-time great quarterbacks have been blown out in the Super Bowl 2 separate times?
Yeah.
and I think the answer is going to be that pass rush, that pass rush, that pass rush, that pass rush.
It's his kryptonite. It seems like.
And that pass rush against a Joe Montana, that pass rush against a Tom Brady, that pass rush against a Terry Bradshaw, it'd be pretty fierce. It'd be hard to stop.
That's true. But like Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, Manning, those are all like all-time greats against the blitz. They actually, in some cases, get better against the blitz than they are like normally.
Yeah. All right.
Fantastic guys right there.
So happy for, I can't say we're happy for the Eagles. The Eagles won it. Our team didn't. So it's time of the year for us to kind of pick up the pieces and go, okay, what happened with the Bucs and where do we go from here?
Well,
all right.
Go find a pass rusher, somebody, more than one somebody. And there's some good news about out of Akron or wherever they play, Cleveland. A superstar, former defensive player of the year, may or may not have requested a trade. And, while the team hasn't traded him yet, they haven't even agreed to trade him because they are way over the cap already for next season, and trading him would dig them deeper in a hole by like a factor of $10 million. So, if the Bucs have a shot to go get Myles Garrett,
let's go. Let's do it.
pull the trigger. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just having an opportunity. You have to put just about every player on the team on the trade block, so to say.
By some miracle, if we could get Myles Garrett, that's great. But more realistically, we're looking at like a Zadarius Smith, which I'm perfect with. But we need a pass rusher.
I think you can even do better than that. Khalil Mack is a free agent. Hassan Reddick is a free agent.
Hassan Reddick was
makes so
fantastic.
much more.
I have a Khalil Mack Raiders jersey from before he got traded.
I got a Khalil Mack Bears.
Yep, there you go.
There you go.
But there's other guys. DeMarcus Lawrence is the free agent this offseason. There's a lot of edge rushers currently. And you look at past Super Bowls, especially for the Bucs, pairing your pass rushers, like having more than one good one on your team. Vita Vea is not an elite pass rusher, but having 7 sacks out of a nose tackle, it's actually kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's doing it while double teams for, I don't know, probably an incredibly high amount of snaps. So, the early Bucs Super Bowl, you have Simeon Rice and Warren Sapp. And then you have Derek Brooks and John Lynch on that team as well. And Rondé Barber even. But, in the most recent Super Bowl, 2020, they had Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett. Jason Pierre-Paul kind of fell off that year, and it accelerated after that. Shaq Barrett had the most sacks in Bucs history that season because you either have to pick him or Vea or Jason Pierre-Paul to double team.
Or Ndamukong Suh. Who was also on that. That was a great front four too. Wasn't it? It really was. I forgot Ndamukong Suh was on that team somehow.
Yeah.
And so, if they can add Myles Garrett to this front seven, I think they automatically jump into the top 5 defenses in the league. I truly do believe that. They have some problems in the secondary. They have some problems with their middle linebackers. But if you can add a guy that's going to get you 16 or 17 sacks a year, you have to do it.
Well, and
On the other hand, you have a situation like Trey Hendrickson where you have 20 sacks and you miss the playoffs.
I'd rather have 20 sacks from one guy and like 7 from another guy and then like 4 or 5 from another than have like one of the lowest sack rates in the entire NFL, which is what the Bucs did this year.
well, and a pass rush makes the defensive backs better. because they don't have to cover as long.
Right.
You're getting after the quarterback.
That's right.
And then we've already got Vea and Kansi, who are guys that could command a double team. If you throw a third guy in there that demands a double team, then now you've got mismatches. They can't double everybody. And
Right.
so
And you even have a Yaya Diaby who has 12 sacks over the last 2 years.
Mhm.
You know, it's
I'm just tired of seeing us throw away first and second round picks at guys that end up being mediocre at best.
yeah.
As pass rushers. We've thrown draft picks at it. It hasn't worked. We need to go outside and make a move. Garrett would be awesome, but there are some other names that you guys mentioned that I'd be happy with as well.
I don't want them to necessarily overpay, but I went back and looked at what Khalil Mack was traded to the Bears for, and it honestly, like, it doesn't even seem like enough for a guy like Khalil Mack at that point in his career. It was 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and then a 6th-round pick. I absolutely think the Bucs could do that. I don't think Jason Light has made his money in the first field. And so, you know, I'm okay with giving up firsts, even seconds, throw them in there as well. It seems like Jason Light has made his money rounds 3, 4, 5.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, I mean, some other positions of need, although an edge rusher does clean up the defensive backfield, we still have to get better. We have to
Inside linebacker, another corner, probably, at least.
Yeah. So are there any free agent targets out there that you guys are looking at? And first, let's start with defensive backs, where we had games started by Tavier Thomas, Funderburg, Josh Funderburg.
App State legend, by the way.
So are there pieces out there in free agency you guys are looking at that fit our defense?
Absolutely. It's going to be a struggle to spend money this season.
We have $2.2 million in cap space.
It's more than that. It's like 6 or 7 at the moment. What you're looking at over my shoulder is a whole rebuild that I've started.
Yeah.
And so, you know, starting with defensive backs, if you really want to start there.
God.
Oh yeah, Trey, you stop looking over my shoulder, man. You're spoiling it. He's looking at the list of wide receivers.
It's a nice wall.
It's a lot of wide receivers this offseason, which will benefit the Bucs because everybody's going to go spend money there. But you know, topping out with their previous this is listed by previous contract: Carlton Davis, Charvarius Ward, DJ Reed from the Jets, who's been very good, very, very good. Jonathan Jones from New England, Byron Murphy, Jeff Okuda, who has absolutely stunk at every place he's been. Kendall Fuller from Miami, Rasul Douglas from Buffalo, Stephon Gilmore also from Minnesota.
Wow.
Mike Hilton, and the one that I think that the Bucs could afford and should go after at the moment is Shaquille Griffin, who is
Bring him home.
Yeah.
he's nearing 30 now, coming from Minnesota where he was playing mostly nickel. But I think that he's shown him he's had some up and downs. He played in Seattle.
Yep.
He was pretty good in Seattle.
Played with his brother in Seattle.
Yeah, very shortly, unfortunately. There's quite a few corners here that the Bucs could spend money on. I don't think it's a position where if you spend too much money, you're going to look really, really stupid because corners can be a little year to year. If they can get Stephon Gilmore for what they're saying, it's probably like $5 or $6 million. Absolutely do it, even though he's almost 35. But you know, they got to look a little bit younger than that at least, and they got to look in the bargain bin, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Then a linebacker is another concern. We had Levante David, who is a legend, but he is aging, and you always wonder when he's going to run out of gas. And then we had him paired initially with Servassier Dennis, who's now coming off a major knee injury. They had KJ Britt, the lowest rated PFF linebacker in the league. So we definitely need some pieces there. And really, I wouldn't want to wait around for the draft to make sure that we're really looking for a starter, honestly, here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, linebackers drop off quick. Levante David is technically a free agent, though I expect him either to come back or retire. I can't even see him after 13 years. I can't see him playing somewhere else.
Yeah.
Bobby Wagner is a free agent out of Washington. He had a very good year, even though he's also 35, basically.
I don't see why you would throw money at Bobby Wagner and not throw it at Levante.
Right. He's probably going to make more than Levante will this year. Both of them are set to be pretty cheap, fortunately for the Bucs. But after that, it's like Devondre Campbell, who hasn't been much of anything. He's been like good enough for them, but he's also had some injuries and stuff. Tyrell Dodson from Miami's really young. He's only 26. And then Willie Gay Jr. And then it kind of tapers off from there. Eric Kendricks used to be good. He's 39 now. Some names I'm intrigued by. Devin Bush from the University of Michigan. Or maybe it was Michigan State.
No, he was Michigan.
Was it Michigan? Because I remember him stomping on the Michigan State logo.
Yeah,
even
I
though
think he was
injured
drafted the
before that
same
game.
year as Devin White.
He was drafted a little bit after by the Steelers. Has not quite lived up to that the same way Devin White hasn't. But they could get him on the cheap. He's only 27. He's going to be 27 by the time the next season starts. So, maybe they throw a minimum contract at him. That's what he's on right now with Cleveland. Or maybe they go back to the Devin White well. He's set to turn 27 coming up. And so, maybe they give him a minimum contract, see what's left in the tank for him, because he did kind of fall off for us, unfortunately.
Big time.
But there's other names. Zach Bond is set to be a free agent.
Yeah,
Raekwon
Noah mentioned that
McMillan.
the other day, and that was intriguing to me.
It's intriguing, but somebody's going to give him a lot of money.
What I'm interested in is, are the Eagles going to try and go re-sign Zach Bond and Hassan Reddick? Because if not, everybody's going to be going after both of them. And of course they're going to try, but will they be able to?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
There's also Dre Greenlaw from San Francisco is pretty good. It's going to cost some money. The one that I'm most interested in, I think, is Isaiah Simmons.
Yes.
Another young linebacker who was kind of a hybrid coming out of Clemson, just like literally 5 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe. He's coming off.
Played every single defensive position, right?
He set an NCAA record by taking at least one snap at every single position on the field.
Corner,
nickel, safety, linebacker, outside linebacker, defensive and defensive tackle. He did it all for them. Didn't pan out in the NFL. Nobody really knew what to do with him.
Yeah.
Especially in Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury. What's he gonna do?
Yeah.
They drafted him as a safety. He played safety for a year with them, and then he switched over to linebacker.
Then he switched to linebacker, and then he switched to nickel when he got to the New York Giants.
Yeah. And then they put him at linebacker.
And then they put him back at
last year.
linebacker for a little bit.
He's lost a lot of his production that he had in Arizona over the last 2 years.
He's not been productive at all.
Yeah.
But I am very curious to see what a creative defensive mind like Todd Bowles would be able to do with that.
Now I'm speaking out of pocket without knowing my facts, but I'm pretty sure that the Arians Bowles Cardinals had a position. They created a position that was a hybrid linebacker defensive
This sounds
back.
familiar.
They had a name for it, and even their first year here, they brought a guy from the Cardinals to play that position for the Bucs. And now
It sounds familiar.
it was like 6 years ago. So
Yeah.
Was it like Russ Cockrell or something? Like
no?
Quan Alexander.
No, but he's a free agent as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a throwback.
No, I don't want it back. He stomped on Jameis Winston's head.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. But I'm very curious to see what they do because if they need to do something.
You guys think of the Joker, the Cordero Patterson, Cordero.
Cordarrelle Patterson.
That's on,
I don't know.
That's on offense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that's an interesting concept right there. But Isaiah Simmons is an absolute athlete. He's tall. He weighs a lot. And he's really fast. I mean,
That's my main problem is that he weighs a lot. He put on so much weight for the Giants to play outside linebacker that
but
he can't
he's
do what he used to.
fantastic. He's 26. He's 6'4".
He's 26?
He's 26. 6'4", 238 pounds. This guy's just, he's the definition of an athlete. He's the defensive version of like DK Metcalf. Just specimen. He wasn't putting up stats last year or the year before. He only got one start last year in 2024 with the Giants. He had 4 starts the year before. Underproductive the last couple of years, but he can make a statement on this Bucs team because it's a Todd Bowles defense, and he uses everybody everywhere.
So I went back and looked at what you were talking about down with Arizona. You're thinking of Deion Buchanan.
Yes, I was.
Yep. It took some digging. Google doesn't work nearly as well now that they have
No,
the AI
but that's
thing
the
in
one.
front. But yeah, Deion Buchanan was the guy. Antoine Winfield's kind of played that role. Jordan Whitehead did as well. They love playing 8 in the box with a safety dropping down. So I'm interested to see what happens if they do pursue Isaiah Simmons the way I want them to, and stick him in the box as an extra safety.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also curious to see what happens with Jordan Whitehead. because as you guys know, and likely some of our audience does, he did get in a car accident and was placed on the non-football injury list. It wasn't like a crazy severe accident. It kind of served as a suspension almost, because he was arrested for reckless driving after the accident. And I did look at some body cam footage. It does not look good for him. So he may end up getting cut here. By cutting him, they save money, and he doesn't have any dead cap weight going into this year. So I'm curious to see if they do get rid of him, because Tyke Smith was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tyke Smith was really, really, like, if he played all the games, he may have been up for defensive rookie of the year.
Something about Tyke Smith is that I wouldn't be mad if he had to go and take the role that Jamel Dean played. I'm not mad about it, because he can play. Tyler was that face for.
It's not really a corner. He played some nickel for them, but he's really a safety. He tied for the team lead in interceptions and passes defensed and fumbles forced, and he missed like 4 or 5 games. So I think,
I don't know if that's a testament to how good.
Well, and even Rondé Barber, like, he was the nickel back.
That's exactly
he wasn't
what I'm
the outside
thinking.
corner.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is that he reminds me a lot of Rondé Barber. We didn't see him rush the passer, and we know Rondé Barber has like the all-time lead for defensive back sacks with like 20 for his career. But I'm seeing some shades. I'm noticing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not to go back one more time, but Deion Buchanan's position was called the money backer.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep, that's awesome. What I was thinking of was Mark Barron, but that was even earlier for the Bucs.
Yeah, that's another guy like that.
Played for the Rams. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly.
You guys have me excited about Isaiah
Buda
Simmons. I like, and I think Todd Bowles likes the flexibility.
I thought he was going to be really good out of college. I was very high on him.
Yeah,
and it just never panned.
Yeah. All right, so we've talked about people that we want, but let's talk about in-house now. The Bucs have free agents currently. It's not a huge list of free agents, but it has a huge name at the top of it, and that's Chris Godwin.
Yeah, and he's a lot of money.
Yeah, he's gonna wanna,
and he deserves it.
Yes, he does.
He was set to have a career year last year, and so it's gonna be interesting to see. I do think that they're gonna shift some money around with Mayfield and Wirfs and Evans. I've looked into it. I sound like I'm sounding like a certain politician when I say that, but we're looking into it strongly. The Bucs could clear up to $60 million in space just with those 3 players restructuring a little bit, and so the list of free agents, it definitely feels a little lighter when you can clear up that kind of space. Chris Godwin's probably going to want somewhere over $20 million a year, and he deserves it for sure.
Yeah.
With the way wide receivers are going to get paid this year, Stephon Diggs, I believe Keenan Allen is a free agent as well. So that's going to be interesting to see. But after that, it does kind of drop off a little bit, luckily.
Yes. Probably the next name on my list anyway is Ben Bredeson, who had a quietly had a really good year, solid offensive line. Obviously, we ran the ball, the growth of Bucky Irving. And so, Bredeson was a part of that. I wouldn't want to break the bank for him if he's going to go somewhere else and get big money. Let's let him test the waters. But obviously,
yeah, and
I'd like to see the guy back.
And according to Spot Track, his market value is not going to jump a ton. Offensive linemen don't generally get paid a ton outside of left tackles. So we're looking at probably a little above a minimum contract for him with the signing bonus. Not super concerned. I don't think he's going to want to leave. But as I think he kind of pointed to. The best ability is availability. He stayed healthy. The second best ability for an offensive lineman is continuity. And so if you can manage to keep your 5 starters together, it generally, I think, will probably pan out well for you next year. Some other names, Levante David, obviously. Don't think they're going to have an issue with him coming back. But Anthony Nelson, who is who's kind of like the 3rd or 4th outside linebacker for them, kind of rotates in and out.
I like to call him the 3rd.
He's very effective in his snaps.
He's more effective than Tryon and rookie Braswell this year. I mean,
yeah, definitely. And
sophomore year Braswell might look like a sophomore year can't see it vibes. I hope.
And with how many edge rushers there are this year, I don't think Nelson's going to get paid a lot in free agency. So I think he'll probably be back as well. It kind of a fun story for him. I remember him getting picked. We were at like some kind of flag football tournament or something. I looked down at my phone. I'm like, oh my God, he has like a 6'9" wingspan. What are we doing? And he looks the part. He looks like a Watt brother. And he's just got the build for it, and it's really worked out for them, even though he's only picked in like the 6th round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But behind that, like backup offensive lineman, Chase Edmonds probably not coming back. Tavier Thomas was a fun special teamer.
I thought he was a really good special teamer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he would be
I didn't like when he had to start at safety, but yeah.
But yeah.
Teams.
Sterling Shepard probably gone. Shaq Barrett may re-retire again. William Golston probably going to retire. He's getting up there in age as well. And then KJ Britt, get him out of here.
Bye.
And they got 3 restricted free agents. I would expect all 3 of them to come back, just because like JJ Russell, Kayvon Merriweather, CJ Brewer. No reason for you to not bring back a restricted free agent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So then, free agency obviously is going to run its course. And then once free agency is done, we're going to turn our focus to the draft. And I know Noah likes to go in deep on the draft with every position previews and looking for sleepers and such. But let's take a 40,000-foot view of this draft. And the Bucs are drafting toward the end of the draft because we are a playoff team. We're not going to have a top 10 pick. So, what do you think the Bucs strategy will be going into the draft?
So
the Bucs are one
with Tyler's trade that he created, the one where we send a 1st rounder and a 3rd rounder and a 1st rounder next year. I sent Rashad White as well, and I got back a 2nd rounder and Myles Garrett. So with that in mind, I went into the 1st round looking for edge, and specifically I wanted Jack Sawyer. But he did not fall to me, surprisingly. I ended up in the 1st round getting Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. Xavier Watts.
This is according to what?
This is according to a little 16-year-old on his computer. I'm using
just you?
No. I'm using Draft Buzz, not PFF because I'm not paying money to use PFF. Draft Buzz takes.
I could have just given you my login. I'm using my PFF.
But yeah, I used Draft Buzz this time. I ended up getting Xavier Watts. I reached on him. And the reason is because Jason Light in the draft likes guys who are productive. He doesn't like them for their physicals or anything like that. Looking back, I believe he drafted Levante David. Levante David, no, he didn't. Okay.
No, he did not.
Well, out of college, Levante David, he said, actually, here's the quote. He said, I like players like Levante. He is the player that we want out of all of them. So with that in mind, Levante out of college led in almost every stat category for a college football player. And of course, Dad and Tyler are going and looking it up to fact check me. But Xavier Watts, he was really productive. He didn't have the interceptions that I wanted out of him, but he's a good safety to add on and put next to Winfield. My next pick, I went with Alabama. Oh, and that was the 2nd rounder because we don't have a 1st rounder in this situation. So that was the 2nd rounder from Cleveland. With our own 2nd rounder, I went ahead with Jahad Campbell from Alabama. Jahad Campbell is an interesting specimen. I picked him because of his physicals. He's fast, and against what was it? Louisiana State University. Jahad Campbell had a fantastic game. I don't like him as much. Sorry, I like him more than Jelon Walker, actually, from Georgia. Jahad Campbell is 6'3", 244 pounds, and he runs a 4.52. He is a similar player, actually, to Isaiah Simmons, where he's played edge and linebacker with Alabama. That's what I find interesting out of him. We can use him either way. He's a very good player, though.
Yeah, I was right about Jason Light. He was brought in when Greg Schiano was fired, along with Mark Dominic, and Light was hired with Lovie Smith and drafted James Winston.
There you go. Okay.
All right, Trey was going to jump in at the beginning. So
I feel like the Bucs are one of those teams that they're not good enough to get to the Super Bowl every year, but they're not bad enough to get a top 10 pick. They're always right in the middle.
As of recent, yes.
Recently.
A little bit.
Recently. They
like the Minnesota Vikings have always been.
Oh, Trey, maybe within your lifetime, buddy.
Well,
you don't remember all those top picks they wasted.
I remember.
I'm old enough to remember them drafting O.J. Howard at 8th overall.
Oh, God, I remember that.
What?
Well, one thing that's interesting about this draft that I've read is that Obviously, quarterbacks the last few drafts, and I think in this draft again, are going to command the top spots. But listening and reading about NFL scouts, they really feel that this quarterback class is not first-round talent. It'll still be reached for, but there's a feeling that Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders would not be first-round picks in other drafts. That bodes well for the Bucs. The Bucs are A, not looking for a quarterback, and B, that means that they would push down productive players toward the Bucs. But a lot of the mocks that I've looked at have trended toward having Jack Sawyer available. That'd be amazing. I would even take Sawyer after we trade for Myles Garrett if we were to trade for Myles Garrett.
Might as well.
Sawyer's fantastic.
Stockpile pass rush all you can, have a lot of fresh bodies going after the quarterback. So, that would be cool. But, I haven't gotten a real read on the draft. And, of course, we've got pro days, we've got the combine, and all these things coming up where we're going to learn a lot more about all of these prospects.
So you guys stopped me right before I got to my favorite player.
Oh, boy.
Oh, he's got one more.
He's going to say like Jalen Miller.
So here is my version of Peyton Wilson from last year. If you guys remember, I was super, super high on Peyton Wilson.
Oh my
He's going to be walking that one for 10 years.
He didn't have an ACL, but man, he played pretty fantastic with the Steelers this season.
17 total tackles.
So my
72,
Peyton Wilson.
That's a huge difference. I am.
Yes, it is. It's like one tackle a game, really?
I'm so sorry. I apologize. I will have
my version of
donation
Peyton, my Peyton Wilson for this season. I got him, I believe, in the 5th round. Carson Schwisinger, out of UCLA. He is short. He is not heavy, and he is slow according to his 40. But he reminds me too much of Levante David. He has all that in mind. Put all that in your mind real quick, and I'll go ahead and say he led the NCAA in tackles and solo tackles.
Yeah, I haven't seen him as late as the 5th round. I've seen him in the 3rd round.
He should be going as a 3rd rounder, but he is a fantastic linebacker.
That's where I've gotten him in my mock drafts as well.
And I mean, this is the guy that I want. If we don't get Jahad Campbell, that's fine. I'm good with Carson Schwinger.
Schwessinger.
Yeah, there you go. Schwessinger. I can't say it. Wow.
That's okay.
We're just going to go ahead and give myself that. That's what I want.
Oh, man. Do we have a fine for hitting the wrong sounder?
Jeez. That's on me.
2 fines in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty bad. Anyway, that's my current mock draft for right now.
I'm sure we're going to get a ton more.
And you're going to get a ton
from Noah over the next few weeks. But right now I want to shift gears over to Trey. Trey had an assignment this week. I wouldn't say there was major buzz, but there was some chirping on certain social media apps about the new score bug that Fox used during the Super Bowl and whether or not people liked it.
Disrespectful.
So Trey likes to delve into the minutia of the game, and so he has analyzed score bugs from the past. Now, how are we going to do this? Do we have images of this?
Our background is going to turn into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Whoa.
That's kind of
So you're going to have to find it.
All right. So if you're listening, you have to find us on YouTube to see these score bugs. We'll try to describe them, though.
Yeah.
So I have listed the.
Hang on. How many score bugs are we looking at?
We got 5 plus an honorable mention.
I feel like Trey should have told me.
Oh, sorry.
This is his list.
Jeez.
5 and an honorable mention.
Okay. Thank you.
My mic is gone now. Sorry.
So I am ranking these based on effectiveness, aesthetics, and how they convey the information. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So, ready, Noah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. For my honorable mention, I have Fox 2012-2013.
There you go.
That's
what he
classic.
gave me. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one from my childhood right there.
So
Yeah,
it doesn't take much of the screen.
Right.
But one thing, it is very small.
Hey, I can see it. I got all my information from it. I know exactly where we are in the game.
Yeah.
You can tell who is who. You have the abbreviations. I love it. It is very well.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Next one.
All right.
We have ESPN around 2018.
Yeah. Here you go.
Yes. So
This is the beginning of one of the greatest games ever.
this is the Rams Kansas City game.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is very large. It is quite big.
That's a lot of info.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was.
I feel like
I
I
thought
know
there was a
too much.
crawl of like college basketball games, but no, that's the starting offense, backfield there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is something. They give you the whole formation across.
Mhm.
And
Telling you the package, one
That
running
is
back,
cool.
one tight end. two
Honestly,
receivers.
if I was looking at this like on NFL Plus and I was looking from like the all 22 angle, that'd be pretty cool to have. But
Mhm.
this is not all 22.
so it is just big, but
I also like that they worked in like not the entire logo, but just enough of the logo that you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's Kansas City for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and like, oh yeah, that's a ram horn. Ram.
Mhm.
They also
All
have
right,
the
Trey.
abbreviations and the colors. Love it.
Next up,
Hang on, before we get to
Oh,
the next
sorry.
one, I have some things to say. We really used to get on Jared Goff for being an average quarterback. That's a below average receiving core.
They put up like 50 something points that night.
With Brandon Cooks, Josh Reynolds, and Robert Woods. And
Tyler
who is that
Higbee.
running back? I don't know who that is.
it's not even Todd
It's not
Gurley.
Curly. That's Brown.
It says Brown.
At
number
least in
34.
on this play. I do know Todd Gurley did play that night. Of course, me, the biggest Todd Gurley fan ever.
with no cartilage in his knees.
But he wasn't in on this play, and this was a touchdown, I believe.
Yeah,
So,
it was a
I mean,
touchdown. Just
just
was a
crazy
touchdown
stuff.
to.
Is that
Robert
Brian Reynolds, number 83?
Woods. I don't know.
That's interesting.
All right, next one.
Malcolm Brown?
You beat me to it.
Oh my God, it's
that
Malcolm
him?
Brown.
Malcolm
Yes.
Brown.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Malcolm Brown,
So-
34. Yeah.
At number 4. Sorry, not Falcons. Sorry, not sorry, Falcons fans. Fox 2016.
There you go.
I did this just for that. That is why this is at number 4.
And if you're
because of
watching
that.
the YouTube, you can see him between me and Trey. Right about here, that's James White about to go score a touchdown.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is James White. Is that Chris Hogan right above Trey?
Yes.
It is
Oh my
Chris
God.
Hogan.
And Julian Edelman's
Oh
laying down
my
on the
God.
ground. Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
God, that's so
this
funny.
is fun.
This is,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Super
you can
Bowl
see.
LI.
Oh my God, what's his name? 45.
Oh, God.
Deion Jones.
Deion Jones.
Deion Jones is somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Somewhere.
uh,
Yeah,
It's-
another one's very efficient,
mhm.
small, out of the way.
Yep, I know exactly what I'm
you
looking
don't. And I think this is a little bit bigger than the 2012 one.
at. Just a little bit.
Just
yeah.
a little bit, yeah.
Just all right.
Height wise, it's a little bigger. It's a little more narrow though.
This was good for
Yeah.
a Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Next one. CBS around 2009, 2012.
You weren't even alive.
The wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
Jeez, Noah.
Come on.
There you go.
You weren't even alive.
Well,
That's
Man, this is the other one from my childhood. This is a good
Yeah.
one.
so something I'm really a fan of is like that 2000s, 2010s aesthetic where it's like shiny.
Mhm.
It's like the fake shine. I do really like that. But my one problem is that's not really a pleasing blue. That's not.
Yeah, why is it blue?
clashes with the
Is that
Pittsburgh
just 'cause
yellow.
that's the color of CBS?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
probably.
But like, imagine that with a Cleveland Browns orange or brown.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this the Tim Tebow game winner?
Yep. I try to get more like famous plays.
Nice.
That's good. That's
Is that
good.
Mike McGlinchey playing center?
Is this just a guessing game for Tyler? Is everything
I'm having
trivia?
fun.
Do you know what the 2012, 2013 was?
Huh?
2012, 2013, the Fox.
2013.
It was
Fox. Honorable mention.
it was New Orleans and it was Washington. I didn't.
It was Robert Griffin's
pull it back up.
first game.
That's what this is.
Yeah, no, I would never would have put that together. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool. Pretty cool.
All right. Number 2.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Yep.
Yep.
There you go.
Boom. What
Oh,
is it,
yeah.
Tyler?
I don't know.
I think
Don
Tyler's
Terry
gonna
Poe.
go. Oh.
Oh yeah, if you gave me like 30 more seconds, I would have gotten it.
Okay. So this is the perfect mix, for me at least, of nostalgia and effectiveness.
Nostalgia.
2016.
Oh my god.
That's when I first started watching.
Trey,
This is
Oh my god.
Trey was 6.
yeah.
Oh my
This is the first score bug that I ever watched a game with.
I feel ancient.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
We're 6 years apart, dude.
I just don't pay enough attention to these. I mean, I see the differences now, but year to year, I'm like, it's a score bug. But no, there's huge difference.
I felt the difference on the Super Bowl night. Let me tell you that.
All right, Trey.
Could have made that in Canva.
Yeah.
On to the next
So
one.
no, I'm not done.
Okay. Sorry. Jeez. I just
I
keep
have-
Got to give some
push me
analysis.
Yeah. So it gets all of the information you need. It has the color coordination, it has the logos. My one problem, they scrunched the down, the time, and the play clock all together.
That's the quarter, but yeah, I see
Or
that.
the
Yeah,
quarter, whatever.
yeah, it
Yeah,
almost,
Yeah.
almost looks like a phone number.
Yeah. So like, you know, the down and the actual down, sorry guys, and the logo take up like more than the quarter of the time in the play clock.
Yeah.
That's too much.
I gotta leave space if it says third in inches. They gotta have room for the word inches.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
They could just do like INCH, but you know, whatever. Number one.
Inch.
Ready?
I am. Absolutely. What game?
Oh, that's
Stephon Diggs.
Miracle in Minneapolis.
Yep.
Oh, that
So-
game felt good.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry, Saints fans. Don't like
No. Why
Not
would
even
you be
sorry,
sorry
not
to the
sorry.
Saints?
I said sorry, not sorry.
I know. Don't even apologize for not being sorry.
So you have the whole team name. That's what I really like about this. Like if you're a first time football fan, you're just now watching this. You get like the colors and the team name, and you also know who has the ball because of the little line. It's so effective.
Oh, this is my favorite one. This is the one that we
greatest
grew
one of
up
all time.
watching. This should have been the Super Bowl right here. This should have been what was on the Super Bowl.
But using for college
The
basketball.
only thing I'm missing on this, and it was the end of an overtime game, so they're not there, but the timeouts don't show there. And there's a current score bug, and I can't tell you which one, where I can't tell. Like it's got little lines everywhere, and I can't tell which one.
It's
is
a
the timeout
prime
marker.
one.
That's how I feel
that-
about some of these baseball score bugs.
Yeah,
You can't tell which one is balls, strikes, and then there's like another one somewhere nearby. Oh, it's the bases.
it's the guy on the base.
Yeah. It's very confusing.
And they make it dots instead of bases now. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah. So does the empty space mean someone's on base, or does the empty space mean the base is empty?
Next week,
Yeah.
Next week I will be doing the worst ones.
Thank goodness.
All right.
Oh yeah, we got some
I'm down for
intrigue.
this. I was. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this segment. I was like, this is gonna be weird. No, this was good. I liked it. Thank you guys.
Controversial opinion. I don't actually like this one that much.
Oh
Really?
Yeah, just kind of bored by it.
I think it fits though with the Fox logo at the time, at least. Like it fits with all that aesthetic and stuff.
but it also kind of looks like something from like a mobile game I would buy on the App Store with like a really sketchy developer. You know what I'm saying?
They originally used this for basketball, but it works really well for
It might
football.
work better with basketball.
It might.
Maybe.
All right. Okay, guys. Well, that kind of takes us through our slate for today's episode. Thank you all for joining us. We're gonna have to get into some Rays talk as pitchers and catchers have reported.
Oh man,
It's
just kidding.
a little bit of a weird season for the Rays being over in Tampa and playing in a Yankee stadium. We're going to try to get adjusted to that. We're also going to bring you more Bucs analysis coming your way. And so we'll have that next week on our podcast. Thank you, Noah, for all the graphics, and Trey for your score bugs. I'm interested to see the worst score bugs now that I've seen the good ones. And so we'll send you all out.
Send you out with a bang.
Ah!